All right. We're live. Hello, lovely people of the internet. And thank you for tuning in for some reading sprints, either live or later. Oh, we do have a few people here already. Hello. These are going to be pretty chill sprints. We have not even discussed what kind of lengths we're doing. Emma, you're here. Wow. See, that's the beauty of sprints. You can use them for whatever purpose you need, honestly. And I respect that. You go, girl. Kara, have you picked out what you're going to be reading? Are you switching between things? Do you have one solid thing you're working on?
I have not. And actually, this works out perfectly because I know you were talking about having me pick your next audiobook. And I was actually thinking, I'm like, I think I need to have Julia pick my next read too, because I am reading other things, but they're not really. Do you feel like there's like books that you can read for sprints and ones that you can't? Because I do. And so it's not
Sometimes.
really like I'm reading Pandora's Jar, which I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love, like mythology, feminism, ancient history, all the good things. But I don't feel like it's one I want to sprint with.
That's fair.
So, long story, not very short. I have like a few options that you're going to be helping me pick between.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
love that. Sweet.
Yeah. I'm kind of still figuring those out as we talk here. It's fine. I'm so prepared, you guys.
No, you're doing great. You're doing amazing. Yeah, I'm a little bit all over the place. So I finished All's Well That Ends Well this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Or rather last night. And then I finished To All the Boys I Loved Before this morning, which
It's so fun.
so good. I hate that it took me this long to read it, and I hate that I had a shadow of a doubt that it was overhyped. I
Yeah.
truly thought it was going to be like a 3.5 stars for me.
Yeah.
It came so close to 5 stars. I was like, this genuinely is great.
It's good. The relationship drama is like excellent.
I mean, spoilers. I don't know who I could be spoiling it for at this point because I'm the last person on the planet Earth to read it. But like the moment at the recital party when she's fighting with Peter and then Josh confronts Peter and then Margot overhears, I had an out of body experience. I was like, this is the best drama I've ever witnessed. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I also like I see red every time I hear somebody trash that book because Laura Jean is immature. I'm like, she literal teenager. Like I
Literal
also like
teenager, also literally me. So that's
me
very rude of you
too.
to
Like
make fun of my teenage self.
yeah, it's like some of the things that she does, I'm like, yeah, that's not a good idea, but also I relate to it. Like
And also,
it's she's such a well-written like high schooler, and
she's
it's like if
such a
you don't like
teenager.
her, that's fine, but people are like, oh, she's really naive. I'm like, she's like 16.
And I
Sit
don't even
down.
think I wouldn't even like make that argument that Laura
Yeah.
Jean is naive. I would say like she's like nice and well
Yeah.
intentioned.
Yeah, it's like because she likes doing like baking, I guess, and like clothes. It's like I don't
I
know.
think the
I don't
only
like it.
like arguably naive moment she has in the whole book and is when she's like, there's no way they had sex. I would never believe that. It's like you couldn't even
Yeah.
imagine that possibility,
Yeah,
Laura
yeah,
Jean.
yeah.
Like it's not 100% impossible.
Yeah.
But
And I find her best friend absolutely insufferable. So I'm like,
oh,
if that is what you are thinking is like real teenager, I'm like, I don't know.
yeah,
Like people are
actually
different.
true. Chris was probably, I mean, my least favorite character sounds harsh, but like the character that I didn't need in the book. I was like, you're not adding anything for
Yeah.
me.
You can say least favorite. I think she's my least favorite. Like
But like I don't even actively hate her. I'm just like, I don't even know why you were there. Like you're just
yeah.
an extra person, I guess.
Yep.
Um, a plot convenience. Yeah, Emma says it too. People who read YA and say the character act too young. I'm like,
Emma, it's yeah. Like I lose like a year off my life every time somebody trashes a YA. Like an adult trashes a YA because they actually
really
too
look at
young.
what you're reading. It's YA.
Exactly. Exactly. I also just think like the sheer audacity and overconfidence to like come into something that is very specifically not written for you and be like, this is not for me. It's like, yeah,
The
I
whole
can't.
point.
It's like I feel like I don't know, not to like get too deep about this, but I feel like we're guests in those spaces. If
Yeah,
we can enjoy them and get something out of them, that's fantastic. But a young adult book does not have to specifically like appeal to you as an older adult in order to be a good book or successful. Like, calm
so
down,
true.
please.
Exactly. But truly for me, this was, when people do something like, watch, I don't know, like an animated show or like play a video game and they're like, this is healing my inner child. Like this book was like healing my inner teenager, truly. Cause I was like, oh my God. Like there were so many moments. The first moment where I was like, Laura Jean, I think we're one and the same, was when she, oh my, what was the beginning of the sentence? It was so good. It's going to drive me nuts. It was like she had the option of going out or staying home. And she was like, but if I don't go out, this would be a great night to work on my scrapbook. And I was like, oh,
Yes!
honey. Yeah.
Yes! Yeah.
Oh, I just love
Yeah.
her. I love her. And I'm afraid because I know there are mixed feelings about later books,
Yeah.
particularly I think the second one, although no one seems to like the second book, but everyone mostly seems to love John Ambrose McLaren. So it's like a mixed bag.
I feel like, Julia, like this, the fact that you're already enjoying the like relationship mess, I'm like, you are gonna love the second book. It is
Oh,
one of the,
perfect.
in my opinion, one of the best love triangles I've read, where like I genuinely understand why she feels things for both of these guys and like why.
And I was already
Yeah.
there just for the drama between Peter and Josh.
Yeah.
So like
I did not like Josh as an option at all, but I loved Laura Jean realizing she has other options. I'm like, yes. Like,
let's see,
thank
I
you.
think that's because of your Margot-ness. I think that's why.
That's funny because I didn't like Margot either,
Well,
but
but
I
you know
feel
what I'm
like it's
saying
because
though?
I'm similar. This is like Marianne Dashwood all over again. Like, truly. I hated her for the longest time, and then at one point I'm like, she's me. That's
Mm.
to quote the great Taylor Swift. Like, it's I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah. I'll stare directly in the sun, but never in the mirror. Mm-mm.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. That's just wonderful. So I'm just casually going on Goodreads right now, and I am marking P.S. I still love you as want to read. I was on the fence.
Oh no, I think it's really solid. And also, I feel like the one that, like, yeah, people complain about the love triangle in the second book a lot, but I feel like I remember seeing a lot of people who like thought the third book like wasn't needed, and they're like, "What? Like this was, nothing really happened." I'm like, I feel like it did such a great job of like communicating the like, "Oh my God, I'm graduating. What do I do? Like,
Mhm.
where do I go to school? What like what am I? Who am I?" Like, I thought it was great. Like, I think this also, I feel like there's a lot of like adults who read YA contemporaries who are kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say like they're mad, but I feel like they don't like that young adult contemporaries are truly contemporaries and not just like YA romance. Like, there is a romance in a lot of them, but I'm like, this is like, I love the character work. Like, if people read a young adult contemporary and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it was too much of like a coming of age and there wasn't enough romance." I'm like, "Sign me up." Like,
Go read a romance book. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
It is kind of one of those things too. I feel like YA contemporaries kind of fall for a different demographic in the same pocket as like women's fiction does.
Yes, I was
There's
just
not
thinking
enough
that.
romance for the romance readers,
Yes.
but it does have a romance plot line usually
Yeah.
in many of them. And so it's
Yeah.
kind of that in between. So, because like for me, I mean, probably just because of my age now. I'm sure it was different when I was a teenager. I never pick up a YA contemporary being like, this is going to be some good romance. Like, I'm just in it for whatever the plot is. And if there's romance, cute. Okay,
Yeah.
fun.
Like I do gravitate towards certain like romantic tropes over others, but one of the reasons that I enjoy young adult contemporaries is like, yeah, we get some great like relationships and interactions, but like I love the character stuff. And I was thinking about the women's fiction comparison because like I tend to get on much better with those than I think a lot of people because I love a like character focused book that has a romance subplot. Like I love that. I will read that in basically any genre.
Yes.
So that's not a negative for me. Like if people were like, there was too much character focus instead of the romance, I'm like, give it all to me. Thank you.
When I read The Marriage Portrait last month, actually just at the end of March, I finished it. I was like, I'm glad so many people seem to love this book. And it's probably just because it's like, it's only being marketed to the correct audience for it.
Right.
But I could imagine some people reading this and being like, but almost nothing happened. And I'm like, but Lucrezia, what a character.
I just read, okay, did we talk about this already? The Ghosts of Sherwood?
Yes.
Okay, because that one, I finished it and I'm like, I loved this. Like I expected to like it, but I'm like, this was exactly what I wanted to read and I didn't know it. And I could see a very fair argument that like literally nothing happens. Like I mean, it's kind of weird to say that because there is like a kidnapping plot line,
Oh,
but it's like a very very quiet story, very character focused, very just like atmosphere, vibes, growing up, adulthood, quiet feminism. Like I love it.
lots of good
It's like
things.
if somebody said this was boring, I'd be like, you are not wrong, but I had the time of my life. So also
Mhm.
Julia, A
Yeah.
plus moms. One
Yes, I love
specifically.
moms. I think if you know you don't like things or aspects
Exactly.
of YA fiction, don't read it. Just end up
Hmm.
saying you hate it. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's a weird like conflict because it's like I want more people to expose themselves to kidlit as like, you know, there's so much great literature there, but also I get to a point where I'm like, okay, fine. Like we don't want you. Like
Right.
just don't read it. Okay, that's you win.
True.
But yeah.
Yes.
All right, I think I finally have my 3 options.
Lay them on me.
Alrighty. So, speaking of young adult contemporaries,
Ooh.
I have It's All in How You Fall by Sarah Henning, and the thing that got me really excited about this one is it had one of my favorite tropes, which I have discussed with you at length, which is like matchmaker and then they like catch feelings. I love that.
Oh,
It's
yes,
so
you do.
juicy. And also, so I actually read a little bit of this one already when I was like trying to decide what to read because I have
Mhm.
a bad habit of doing that. So I already know I'm really enjoying it. And also, our main character is a gymnast, like a really, really good Olympic bound gymnast.
Ooh.
And then she has a really horrible injury that basically ends her career. And she is not at all adjusting well. And she's like really, like, other people don't seem to understand what she has lost. And I'm like, I'm really connecting to this as a theater person. I know they're very different disciplines, but like, I feel for Caroline. And so then, like, her brother's best friend, who is a total sweetheart, he's like, hey, like, how about I help you like find a new thing to do and to enjoy? So basically, they're gonna spend a week, like for the whole summer, they're gonna spend a week on each of like a bunch of different sports, and she can kind of figure out if she likes any of them. And in return, I'm just getting to the point I think where she figures out like how to like pay him back because he's like, you don't need to do anything, and she's like, this is really nice, like you're being really nice. So she's gonna set him up on dates, and yeah, juicy. So that's one option. Then I've weirdly been in the mood for like spooky things, even though we're
Ooh.
like going into spring.
Sort of.
This is The Dollhouse by Karis Cotter, and it's about this girl who is staying at like this weird old manor house, and it's got some creepy vibes already, but then she finds a dollhouse in the attic that is like the exact replica of the house,
Which is always a
and
creepy thing.
yes, it really is. And then she wakes up one day and she finds a girl asleep next to her in the bed who looks like one of the dolls from the dollhouse.
Terrifying.
And then the dollhouse starts to change when she's not looking.
Ah.
So I think that sounds really good. I also love this cover.
I was gonna
And
say that
then
cover is stunning.
yes, and then my final option, because for my birthday month, I like to read books by favorite authors, as a little treat for myself. So I have Hannah Alkoff's newest release, which is Humra and the Jungle of Memories, also a gorgeous cover.
Yes.
And all I really know about it is that this is a
Red Riding,
Malaysian
right?
take on the Little Red Riding Hood story. All I need to know. Yeah, I've loved everything I've read from her, and I already love the first page. It's like there was once a girl named Hamra who lived in a crooked house on the edge of the tangled Langkawi jungle with a mother and father who told her what to do, a grandfather who told her stories, and a grandmother who told her truths. In time, she would come to discover that all of these things were equally important. So,
Um,
already love
I
it.
got little fairy tale goosebumps. I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's good.
So, I'm very excited. So, any of those three I would be stoked to read.
Dang, you're not making it easy. I think I would vote. Oh, this is so tough.
I know.
Both because they all sound good, but also I'm just excited to hear your thoughts on all three.
Yeah.
So it's both of those. I think you should continue It's All in How You Fall. So that's
Okay.
um
Yeah.
and
That
then
makes sense because I already started that
yeah.
one too. Emma votes the
Oh,
fairy tale goosebumps.
I know. I just love a good storyteller type line, you know.
I know. I
Uh,
know.
I have a couple things that I will probably bounce between. So
Hmm.
depends. Um, so I have a romance, Some Dukes Have All the Luck by Christina Britton, which I have been reading for ages, which is
Yeah.
why I think I should keep reading it and just be done with it. Because it's not even bad. I just got distracted by reading obligations and then getting
Hmm.
busy. And then
Hmm.
I stopped. But I literally if you go into the recesses of your mind, Kara, you will remember me telling you about this book because I was so excited because she's like a little like a what's a bug scientist called?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
entomologist.
Yes, she's an
Yeah.
entomologist and her parents threw away all her work and she's like, "But I just want to have my research published." And then he's like, "Well, oh, Cammy's here. Hi." And then he's all like, "Well, I need someone to look after my wards because I'm a traumatized, brooding man who can't
Yeah.
love. But these children deserve love, so they need a mother because I'll only mess them up." So he's like, if you marry me, I'll pay and sanction for all your research and they can have a mother and whatever. But then because she's a scientist, they got married and she's like, for scientific purposes, I think we should consummate our marriage for research, just so I know as a scientist.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that totally makes sense. Yeah, of course. So loving that, just haven't continued it. And then because I know Sarah is going to show up in one point and yell at me if I'm not, we have
Yeah.
Six of Crows, so I can continue Six of Crows
Yeah.
because that's important. And then if I get tired of looking at things, maybe I'll do a little bit of my audiobook too, which I just started home. Thank God. I am very neutral on so far. I've listened
Hmm.
to about an hour of it. I'm not quite sold and I'm not quite disliking it. I'm just listening,
I'm just
taking it
here.
in.
This is happening.
And it's also one of those books like Station 11 where when you read it after having existed during a pandemic, you're like, I hate reading about people
Yeah.
freaking out and the
Yeah.
unknown and stocking up on things. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I am still not really at a point for pandemic books. I'm like, I'm good with the one we have happening now. Like
yeah.
I don't need additional pandemics.
Yeah. And I didn't even think it was totally going to be that, but it kind of is. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't I've heard a few things about that book vaguely. I think a lot of other people were very neutral on it as well. I did not realize it was a, a plague book.
Well, it's kind of not. I guess the issue is that like I haven't really gotten to this point in the book. I've just gotten like character work so far, but from the little synopsis, it sounds like babies are being born. What's the phrasing that would make the most sense? Less um uh what's like Charles Darwin.
Oh, evolved, less
Yes,
evolved.
less evolved. Like they seem like previous humanoid species.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we don't know what's causing this or why. So it sounds like there's going to be like dystopian elements of, policing pregnancy type
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
it's probably going to get heavy.
Yeah, I was like, that does not
I'm like,
sound
babies, pregnancy, our main character's pregnant. This is great.
Yeah. Okay, so for your options, I like that you picked things that you were like already currently reading, because that's something I'm trying to work on as well. I feel like, especially since we know Sarah's gonna be here, I feel like you should pick up Six of Crows. Also, it's one that I am very curious to hear what you think. So yeah, I pick Six of Crows.
You've read Six of Crows.
I have.
I was putting to the one for science. I should have brought a drink. I'm gonna have to get one when we're like choking because I'm so excited and talking so loud at you. Ooh, things we hide from the light. Oh, is this? I literally need to go get water. Is this the sequel to the one? It's got the flowers on the cover. Oh. Hold on. Literally, it is. It's the. I know what it is. Okay, BRB. I literally can't just keep.
Yes, please go hydrate.
I'm literally gonna grab like a Dixie cup in the bathroom and be like, look, because I don't feel like going all the way downstairs. Okay, just doing shots of water. Hydration.
Yes, important.
Ooh, you think I would like them? I know there's a child, so at least in the first one, so that appeals to me. The first one, Kara, I feel like you would know. It's like that blue book. It's like a contemporary romance. And it's got like daisies or flowers or whatever on the cover, and it's like everywhere.
I'm gonna look up that author because, like, did My Name Is Martinez read one of her books recently?
I feel like somebody did.
Let me look.
Maybe it was Mari.
I do recognize this cover.
I like the premise. I feel like romance writing and like love interests are very hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
But I like the premise.
Is this the one that Monet just read for our collab?
Oh, maybe that's who read it.
I think
because it's
okay.
Yes,
I remember being like, "Oh yeah, I would not. This is not for me."
Because it's like her twin sister like dumps her kid and then leaves.
Yeah, and also I hated the man. The way that he was like talking about him, I was like, I cannot. Knox doesn't do complications or high maintenance women. I'm like, you know what? Knox can just piss off. Like, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
Complicated and high maintenance.
I feel like high maintenance for women is just used to be like, oh, you don't want people to treat you like shit? Well, like,
that's pretty high maintenance of you.
Pretty high maintenance of you, yeah.
How dare you not?
I know a lot of people love the author though, so I'm glad you're enjoying it, Emma.
I would try it though. I would. Let the record show. Okay, then I'll start with Six of Crows. How long? I feel like should we just start at the hour mark since we're so close to it? How long do we want to
Yes.
sprint for?
Good question. Do you like to do like a warm-up sprint, or do you like to be like all in? 45 minutes. Let's go.
I can honestly go either way. Let me look. I like to see how long of a chapter I've got ahead of me, you know?
Hmm.
Because if I can reach some kind of nice stopping point in a short amount of time, then I'm more open to that. Yeah, it's like a 20-page chapter. That's not too bad. Do you want to do like 20 minutes?
Let's
See
do
where
it.
that lands us?
Yes.
Okay, let me create a little banner.
Oh no.
Okay, and now just because I'm curious because you said so, why are you so curious my opinion of Six of Crows, huh?
I didn't care for it.
Mm.
I do think it was better than the Grisha books, but I thought it was one of the most underwhelming experiences of my life. Like,
Whoa.
yeah,
Juicy.
Lee Bardugo and I are just oil and water. We don't mix.
Okay.
The last chance I'm giving her is the Nikolai books, even though I know a lot of people hate them, because it's about like the only characters I care about, which are Nikolai, Nina,
Oh, and
and
Zoya.
Zoya. I fucking love Zoya because I know, it's fine. My toxic trait is loving characters who hate the book they're in.
Yeah,
Like that I also hate. So,
it's my
oh my
my
gosh,
favorite trope.
Emma, we should start a support group. Like I feel like it's very hard to find us.
And Cammy
Oh, you
too?
too? These
Oh
are my
my
people.
god. Oh, for these ones, not for the Six of Crows. Wow, juicy. Okay, see, because
I'm so
I am
glad.
not. I'm in the mix right now. I don't have any strong attachment because there's however many parts, and I've only finished part
Right,
one.
right.
Actually, I think there's 6 parts. um, yeah, right. But I will say, in the scene where Matthias is like in the prison and he has to fight and like kill the wolves, like I was crying. I did not know why we were emotional, but I knew I was sad. And
Yeah,
then it
yeah.
was like, it's cultural significance. I'm like, yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. There were definitely like good moments. Like I gave it 3 stars. I didn't like hate it. It was just
Mhm.
one of those books where I'm like the fact that this is a 3 stars feels worse than like
Yeah.
other books that have been, like a 1 or 2 star just cuz like I mean everybody almost seems to love that book. Yeah, exactly, Emma. Like I was really underwhelmed by the characters. I feel like that was the thing that people hyped up the most is how amazing these characters are and this like found family, and I just didn't see any of it. And I think Lee Bardugo does this thing, and she's not the only one. A lot of authors do this where like they create this like really complicated trauma for a character, which is like, fair, but that's like the only characterization they do.
Mm.
And it's not that I don't feel sympathy for this character, but it's like I want to feel sympathy for them and also get to know them.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just wasn't seeing characterization outside of like that trauma for a couple of the characters at least. So, yeah.
Juicy.
Yeah, and I'm not even reading the second in the duology.
Mm. Yeah, I did read Shadow and Bone, but I didn't continue in the trilogy,
It's not
even
worth
though,
it.
but I kind of want to. It's like that, I can't think of any words today, truly. It's just like
FOMO?
no, not even. It's like I just feel like I'm gonna be the one dissenting opinion. Whereas like
Mm,
everyone hates this so much, watch me love it. Like I
yeah.
just wanna be I'm being a contrarian. That's what it is. I just
Yeah, yeah.
so
That's
that's
fair.
that. Okay, but needless to say, we gotta start reading because
Yeah. Let's go.
we'll continue this discussion shortly. Hey, welcome back. I'm doing your little whisper.
The ease back in.
The little hello, everyone. Man, if I hadn't had to restart my laptop, I would have finished that chapter. I was like a
I
page
know.
and a half away.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Wow. Well, how was that first sprint for you?
It was good. I read about like a chapter and a half, maybe. I'm really liking it. So Caroline has just realized that she can set up Alex, the guy who's helping her, with one of her gym friends because he's like had a crush on her. So I think she's gonna figure out like, oh, that's how I can pay you back is by like trying to set you up. Also I feel like pop culture references are things people have very different feelings about, like pop culture references in books. I feel like they're very easy to overdo.
Yeah.
But when they're used intentionally, I enjoy them. And so there was a really cute moment where because he gave her a ride and she's getting out of the car to like go meet her friends and to like casually introduce them to each other. And she says, like, in the wise yet fictional words of Angelica Schuyler, I'm about to change your life. And she has like this little moment of like, that was pretty dorky. Why did I do that? And she's like walking away, and then he goes, then by all means lead the way. So it's really cute. So yeah,
I
enjoying
love
it.
that.
Yeah.
That's really cute. See,
Right?
especially when it's like a theater reference, we're like, oh, it's not lame. I love it.
I know. Yeah. I find it at this point, I'm finding it a little bit hard to believe that this guy doesn't already get like all of the romantic attention that he would want. I mean, maybe he does. Maybe he's shy and that's what we're going to find out. But it's like he's so sweet. He's so talented and smart and funny. Like just what are you telling me you need help? I don't believe you.
I want to get caught up on all of this because I do want to read Ninth House. I have no idea how I'm going to feel about it, but I do want to try it. Emma, I've never read Shatter Me, but I intend to never read it, so that feels like the right choice.
I read the whole first trilogy and I'm like, fine. Like it was like there were moments that I really liked, but it was kind of like Six of Crows, I guess. I was like, I have almost no feelings about it. That's not true. Six of Crows, I have annoyed feelings, but yeah.
We were productive. Yay. What are you studying tonight, Emma? Do tell. What do you mean former?
It was really cute. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It just struck me as I would hate the love interest. Like I just instantly got that vibe and I was like, so what's the point?
Yeah. It was like the writing was a big thing for me too. And like I didn't love how the writing connected with the main character to like just create a very annoying experience. But I actually really loved Tahara Mafi's middle grade books. I want her to write more.
Furthermore is so good.
It's so good. Have you read Witchwood yet?
Yes, which I also really loved, except I couldn't handle what character was it? The spider bit.
The bugs. The bugs is a lot. Yeah. I loved.
Trypophobia says no. Yeah. Don't do that.
I loved Witchwood even more than Furthermore, but like, yeah, those parts I'm like, this is a little rough. Like,
really disgusting. Actually, I'm dry heaving in my car, but okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, collections and development class. Emma's a librarian, so that's her shtick. Okay, fair.
I feel like there's like ebbs and flows for a lot of like the shows that I'm really passionate about, where it's like it's not that I stop liking them, but it's kind of dormant. You know, I'm liking other things, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh no, I'm in my Great Comet phase again. This hurts.
I'm back in my Great Comet phase right now. You don't even know. Yeah. I'm like, should I just do a casual reread of War and Peace? That's subtle, right?
Yeah.
But I could finally just watch the miniseries that came out
I
a
still
couple
need to
years
do
ago.
that. I
It's,
think I watched the first episode.
it's literally my phone background. And yet,
What a fake fan,
yeah,
Julia.
like, look, there it is. There they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And yet, haven't watched it. But I love them, but I haven't
Yeah.
watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so good. Oh,
So good.
I love all the. I can't get over like us being like, well, here's an unpopular opinion, and then Emma and Cammy are both like, actually, no, same. We're all here. We're all together.
I love that. It brings me so much joy. Because, like, honestly, it can be a very, I don't know. It's kind of a bummer, you know? It's a downer when you don't enjoy the thing that it feels like the entire English speaking world loves. So,
That's what I thought
it's
it was going to
nice.
be with To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So that's why I'm so relieved I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I'm leaning more towards liking this so far than I am disliking or being neutral. It's very weird having already watched season 1 of the TV show. I was told not to watch season 2, so I'm not doing it until I finish this. But I guess it has Crooked Kingdom plot points in it, so after I finish this, if I want to read that, maybe I should read that before, but I digress. But it's so weird having like the character setup of like Kaz and well all the crows really except for Wylan in that show, but it's like before the events of this book, so it's so weird to me like knowing like the tension between Matthias and Nina, and then like reading it now where he like literally wants to kill her, and I'm like, I already know what betrayal happened because I watched the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I know. And I know that a lot of people are loving the show who, like, didn't necessarily love the books.
oh,
Um,
season 2,
what's that?
not so much about season 2 though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like I would have liked Six of Crows a lot more if like the character setup had been more like the show. From what I've heard, I haven't watched the show and I don't plan to, but
I liked the
it's
show.
like one of the reasons that I found Six of Crows frustrating is I'm like, you just keep like telling me about this found family, and I don't know, it's weird. It's like I don't like when authors just like throw you into a heist and expect you to care because it's a heist. I'm like, who's doing it though? Like, who are these people? Why should I care?
Yeah. I also, and maybe this is just me, and I might feel differently later in this book or about other ones in general, but I think found family is almost thrown around like too loosely sometimes.
Yes.
Because it's like a friend group, just because like all of them are like orphans or don't associate with their families, that doesn't mean like they're necessarily a family. They could still be just like a close friendship. Like I think that's different from found family. You know what I
Yeah, it's
mean?
also it's almost to the point where like somebody describes something as like found family and I'm like, "Huh." Whereas if somebody says like, "Oh, I love the friendships in this," I'm like, "Ooh, give it to me." Like
Yeah.
even though a lot of times like those things overlap or like always those things would overlap. It's just there's something about I don't know. Maybe it's that like I associate the description of like found family with the books that I think don't pull it off, you know, like
Mhm.
that they tell you about it rather than like, you know, giving us all these great interactions and backstories. So maybe this is like a me thing and I just like associate it improperly, but it's like someone describes something as found family and it like doesn't really do anything for me. Like it doesn't like turn me off a book, but I know for a lot of people it is like the buzzword and I have like no emotions about it.
Well, and for me, and maybe this is because I'm someone with, I mean, God bless, a healthy family dynamic.
Yes.
But like to me, if it's a found family, I expect to see like people of different ages. Like, is there a
Yeah.
child? Is there an adult? Is there someone in the middle, maybe? Like, I
Yeah.
if it's 5 17-year-olds, I'm like,
As
you're
a
not
friend
a
group.
family, you're not
Yeah.
cousins. Like, what?
Right.
Like a family
Yeah.
has different dynamics. So like
Yeah.
Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry, that is found family to me. Like that has different, and a dog. They even have a dog in their found family. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's a family.
Yeah.
Or like the books, I haven't read it yet, but like an irregular society of witches or whatever it is. Like that sounds to me like it could be found family. Like, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just anything.
No, like I agree. Cuz like it's not that I don't think those relationships and friendships can be really meaningful if everyone's the
Oh
same
yeah.
age, but I'm like this is just a friend group. You can call
Yeah.
them friends. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Um yeah.
It's an interesting trope.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it can sometimes be that way with a lot of different tropes where it's like it started with a very literal meaning of whatever it was, and it's
Yes.
kind of like morphed over time
Yeah.
as people apply it to different books that maybe even the author didn't necessarily mean to be like, oh, I want this trope in my story, but
Yeah.
like everyone projects it onto there, and then it's, I don't know.
Yeah. And I really like
Oh my
and
God, why does my camera keep cutting out?
oh no. There we
Please
go.
stay.
You're back. That's so weird.
Oh no.
It's like we'll still let you be connected, but
Yeah.
like,
But the
no
first
but
time it
you.
cut my camera and then it disconnected me and I was like, okay, we're restarting the laptop.
Yeah, yeah.
This time it was
Um
like, oh, you want to be back in? Go ahead.
yeah. Just testing. Just
Yeah.
testing you.
Keeping you
Um
on your toes.
yeah. Like you were saying, Julia, I am lucky enough to have a very good relationship with my family, and I think that definitely influences taste because like I really like when it's like a combination. It's like, you have like a really strong sister relationship and then you have like a really great friend group and maybe like
Hmm.
somebody is really close to like their best friend's grandparents because they
Yeah.
don't have living grandparents. Like so I really like when it's like a combination of things.
Hmm.
I also just like enjoy, I don't know, like regular like friendships. It's like you can have like really really deep like friendship connections that don't have to operate as like a stand-in for like other
Hmm.
relationships. Like not that those aren't important too, but yeah, it's kind of like you were saying. It's like if it's not like the only friendships that are meaningful are ones that have to fill in for another relationship that you don't have. Even though it's
Hmm.
great that people do have those, it's just like that's not the only kind of friendship that means something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
just my
Not
thoughts.
not to keep harkening back to all the boys I've loved before,
Please
but this
do.
is exactly how I felt about like Josh and like his relationship with the Covey family. I'm like, I love this.
Yeah.
This is precious. Like, please
I
continue coming over to their house all the time. It's really
I'm
cute.
pretty sure that I teared up in the first book when they're just talking about the backstory of their mom, and it's like we never even meet her, and I'm like, it's so sad. I was like, she was
Hmm.
fine, and it like yeah, scares me about head injuries so
I
much,
know.
like, because like I know that happens. It's like you can be fine, and then yeah, um, but
Yeah.
I love the family and like their dad. I love their dad. He just like he does his best. He tries so hard. He's so good. Like
A father-daughter relationship will always get me. It'll get me every
yeah,
time. And
yeah,
so, like, in the scene towards the end where he's like, I'm gonna make you a doctor's appointment. She's like, no, Dad, why don't you believe me? And then eventually he's like, okay, if you say so, I believe you. I was like crying. I was like, yeah, believe your daughter. Like, I just
yeah.
love them.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. But that is kind of why I was anti Margot for a hot minute. Because when she came back and was acting just so rude, I was like, please, we're in the head of Laura Jean, so I get it
Right,
that we're
right.
supposed to feel for her. But it's like, yeah, appreciate all the hard work your sister's been doing, trying to keep things going while you've been gone, instead of
Yeah,
coming back and like immediately criticizing five things. It's like,
yeah. I
well,
I
okay,
I consistently did not like Margaret Margaret for the whole Margot. Sorry. Other
it's
pronunciation.
that
I was
weird
thinking of
spelling.
something else. Um yeah, I was not a fan of hers throughout. I think she's like a well done character. Like she felt very very real, but yeah,
Hmm.
I also was like, "Ma'am, please no, have a seat." And
Hmm.
I think that is a testament to like how good Jenny Han does of like getting us into like Laura Jean's, headspace and everything. But I also just there were specific things about Margot as well that I'm like I kind of like we were saying with people saying Laura Jean feels, naive or immature or
Hmm.
like too young. I feel like Margot is like what some people like want young adult characters to be. And it's like, I mean, some are, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But like, yeah, she just felt maybe this was like a not just like Margot written the way she is, but like how the fandom reacts to her. This is interesting. I'll have to think about that more.
Mm. Yeah, it's very interesting. And then I was not aware, but Sarah informed me that there's apparently a spinoff in the works for Kitty. And
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
no disrespect to Kitty. She was a delightful character, but just from one book, I'm like, I don't know what warrants your own story, but I'm
Yeah.
willing to give it a try. Like, but I
Yeah.
guess it makes sense because the actor is probably so much older now that she's not like a
Right.
9-year-old.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Kitty is like, she definitely, there were times where she really got on my nerves, but I'm like, you are a believable like
You're a child.
elementary schooler, like
Yeah.
interacting with your high school age sister. Like, so I guess it didn't get to me the way Margot did, because I'm like, yeah, like you like literally don't have a fully developed brain. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like makes sense. So
Yes. And it's so funny because that was like the one thing I knew about the series. Like that was the premise
yeah,
to me.
but
And I was like, oh, this is a twist. Oh.
yeah. I think I hadn't heard about that part of the premise, but like immediately as soon as the letters get sent out, I'm like, it was Kitty, right?
It
Like
makes sense. She was so mad at her 1 second
yeah.
ago.
I was like, it has to be her. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, but I was like so emo when she got her hat box back and she was thinking about how her mom had like given it to her and she's like, this is your special place to put anything that's secret and important to you. I was like, hmm.
I love their mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Jenny Han. You did
Round
it.
of applause for Jenny Han. Yeah.
And it really is reassuring to me too, because I know totally different and this one came later, but I do own The Summer I Turned Pretty because you know why. You know why.
I know.
You already know why I bought that. And so now that I loved this so much, I'm like, maybe it's going to be great. Maybe this is going to be my new fave.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. I like specifically remember how I started reading Jenny Han, because I was never interested in To All the Boys I've Loved Before either. Like I kind of thought too, I was like, oh, probably wouldn't work for me. Especially because I'm not in general a fan of love triangles. But I read her story in that like Christmas anthology, which I did not care for a lot of stories in that, but there were a few that I really loved. And one of the ones that I really loved was Jenny Han. And I'm like, the way you made me feel so many things in this like tiny number of pages, like I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And like I really enjoyed the whole trilogy. And I will die on this hill that the third book is not useless. Like
Yeah.
it's about self-actualizing.
Yeah. It's about coming of age, okay? This
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah. Which is funny because if somebody describes like an old book as like coming of age, I'm like, I'm already bored. Like I think of like Great Expectations and like Pip, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, but a young adult contemporary that you complain about not having enough romance and having too much character development, I'm like all over that.
I do kind of want to watch the new Great Expectations miniseries. Was it a miniseries? I think it's a miniseries.
I don't know.
It has, I don't know his name. And the only thing I know him from is such a specific thing to say that it sounds dumb. Hold on, let me see who else is in it. I think it's from FX. I think that's who's making it. But I could be wrong. Great Expectations. It's on Hulu. Yeah, it is. FX in association with BBC. That's very specific. Olivia Colman is Miss Havisham. I don't know the girl playing Estella, but she's beautiful. The guy, do you watch Black Mirror or have you watched Black Mirror? Mm-hmm. There was one episode that is like a choose your own adventure episode. And Pip is the guy from that. And that's the only thing I know him from. So
okay.
He seems to be a handsome, good actor. So that's all I can say.
Yeah. I like I don't know if it would even count as like trivia because it's like in the book, I think, and I just like always forget. but like the fact that Miss Havisham is like 35 or something, I can't get over it. Like I read Great Expectations a long time ago, but like I remember it's like the way they talk about her is like she's this rotting corpse of a woman, and it's
They
like you.
always make her like a ghostly apparition of a human.
Yeah, it's like you think that
She's
she's
like,
like 107 or something, and she's like she would be considered like young. It's like you couldn't even get like a senior discount. Like
yeah,
you could like literally still be. I mean, like there are college students in their 30s, and it's
she
not
could
that
be my
weird.
friend. Like
Because
she's old
yeah,
enough to hang out with me.
yeah. Ugh, Charles Dickens, like some interesting portrayals of women.
But good to know that, in a couple of years I could be like, I'm auditioning for the role of Miss Havisham. I am of age.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that is so wild though. Oh, sorry. Talking about classics made me remember that poor Miss Finch is sitting over there.
I know. I was thinking about that when you mentioned the like, I had to buy this over my turned pretty.
Maybe
I'm really excited. I actually was thinking of starting Poor Miss Finch soon because I'm like, it's gonna be
I might read a
amazing.
chapter during sprints tonight just to
Yeah.
wet my whistle, as they say.
Yeah.
As my dad would say. I don't know who else says that. I mean, I know it's a real saying, but
One that like people might not actually use.
yeah. Oh my gosh. But okay. I do remember the last time we spoke, I was like, I'm a little bit cautious going into it. But reading the back of my edition, I'm like, maybe I have hope. Hold on, let me grab it. They make it sound promising. Oh, also let me show you what came in the mail today. It's not Enter the Body, although I did receive my copy now, so we need to figure out when our
Yes,
buddy
I
is
was just
starting.
thinking about that.
Actually haven't even pulled Enter the Body out of its packaging because I'm criminally rude, I guess. I don't know.
That's okay.
Okay, but it says, I love this. Using a background. Ooh, we have got the same art, but different.
I know. Oh no. Okay, are we good?
Is yours Oxford?
It is.
Okay,
So
they're
it's
just
funny.
like different. Weird.
Yeah.
I have to use more. Anyways, I like the full. But maybe yours says this too then. Using a background of myth and fairy tale to expand the boundaries of 19th century realist fiction, Collins explores the idea of blindness and its implications. His sensitive presentation of the difficulties, disappointments, and occasional delights that follow the recovery of sight by someone blind since infancy remains one of the best accounts in fiction of a problem that continues to intrigue philosophers, psychologists, and the general public, as it has been done since it was first discussed by Locke and Berkeley in the 18th century. That was a long sentence.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, they're really praising this thing.
Yeah. Okay, I kind of should we do past it classic sprints? I kind of like want to start this
Maybe.
one.
I think that could be the move. I think we should read the first chapter in our next sprint.
I think that would be really fun.
And these are short chapters. These are really short chapters.
I love a classic with short chapters.
Literally, chapter 5 starts the second, or page 5 starts the second chapter for me.
I love that.
Like it's 2 pages, then it's like boom.
Also, it's funny. I mean, I know this is just they give you like a selection of Oxford World's classics. It's like read more of this edition. But it's funny because the page I had turned to was like a bunch of Anthony Trollope books, and I'm like, even though I've only read one novel by him, the premise is giving me like Anthony Trollope kind of drama.
True. So true.
Yeah. Okay. I really want to start this one during sprints.
Okay.
Plot twist. We pick each other's books and then we both read something else.
We'll flip-flop. We're flaky. It's fine.
We can do both. Yes. I might actually grab a jacket too at some point.
I was going to say, I think maybe let's start reading at 50 minutes.
Yes.
That way we have a couple minutes to finish conversations.
Yes.
Get your jacket.
Yes.
To jaqueta.
Always a good move. Okay.
I don't know how long we want to read until this time. I don't know why I'm just sitting here in silence without Kara. I'm like, I cannot speak. I must wait. I must wait for her. But yes, if anyone cares to know and or join and or discover more, Poor Miss Finch by Wilkie Collins is our Past It Classics book for April. I'm hosting this month, so I picked it. And it is about a blind girl whose neighbor and his twin brother both fall in love with her. And at some point, she regains her sight. It's the drama for me. Ooh. Emma, I know you're absolutely dying right now. I know. I know this is everything to you, and I'm so excited for you, honestly. I literally only have like 2 of their songs that I'm absolutely obsessed with. But I'm so happy for you. Just so happy. Why does my Fitbit feel weird? That is my question. And also, where is Sarah so she can give me kudos for reading Six of Crows? I did this for her. And then nothing, no glory. I absolutely love Ghost of You, as anyone with taste does. That song is a masterpiece. And then I love their song from the Ghostbusters movie, question mark. Boys Talk Girls. It's so fun. I love that song. I jam to it all the time in the car. It's just really great. Welcome back.
I have returned. Yes.
Yes. I was like sitting silently for a second and then I was like, oh, I forgot I can talk even though you're not here. So then I did. Oh, wait, I missed this part. I believe in you. It is so good. It's such a fun song. I love the chorus. I love the verse is okay, but it's that little pre-chorus that really gets me hyped. Okay, now I'm going to share what came in the mail today. So excited. So it is a very, very, very rare occasion that like a publisher will reach out to me on Instagram and be like, oh, we have this book. Perhaps you're interested if we send you one. And every time I'm like, me? Little old me? What an honor. But every time that it does happen, it always, without fail, is a book that has to do with Shakespeare. And I love that. So I got sent this gorgeous fella, which is all about like the first folio and how that kind of created Shakespeare as we know him.
That is very cool and very on brand.
It's very beautiful. And did you know this year is the 400th year anniversary of the publication of
I did know that.
So cool. So yay, Shakespeare month.
Yes.
I don't have anywhere appropriate to put this. So. Oh, and Kara, you probably heard this in one of my voice memos to you, but be afraid, be very afraid, because I have a pile next to me that is so tall of books that I'm unhauling. You don't even know.
All right.
It's good for me. And it'll motivate you to continue reading as much as you do. Okay. Noted. We're talking about 5 sauce.
Nice.
As the children say. Okay. Do we want to go until maybe like the half-hour mark? That'll give us like 40 minutes to read.
Let's do that.
Yes, and when we come back, I'll share some of the unhaul pile. I gotta save some content for for my actual videos, but I'll show you like maybe the most well-known books out of the pile.
Sounds good.
Okay. Oh, and just like that, it is time. So let us read. Welcome back.
Hello.
Little song, hello. Wow. As predicted, Sarah is here. Yep, I'll write you a letter to YouTube. Don't worry about it. And Sarah, I'll have you know that in honor of your appearance, I did read Six of Crows for our first sprint. And you probably just saw me finishing the chapter a moment ago because I had like a page and a half left. And I was like, let's just whip this out real quick while we have 1 minute remaining. Yes. Go get those noodles.
Yeah.
Way to go, Emma. Okay. Are we on the same page? Is this delightful or what?
I am having a wonderful time already. I just read the first, I think, 4 chapters.
Me too. I finished the first 4 chapters.
Yeah. And I'm, having a great time. Like, it's so much funnier than I thought it was going to be.
It's so funny.
When she's like, there is only one gentleman here, and it's like a sheepdog.
And she's like, and I can read dogs' faces, so I know he's a gentleman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I already, like you were saying with the, when you were reading the back of the book earlier, I am already pleasantly surprised by how Lucilla is being written about. Like, when Madame Bratolango is, like, going to lead her, and she's like, oh, I know where I'm going. Like, you don't know where you're going. Like, so I'm having a lovely time already. Also, we already met the man. Drama. Like,
I know. We already met the first man. And I'm like intrigued and confused by him.
Yeah, what's the thing with Exeter? Why was he like so grumpy when he saw her like governess or whatever? I don't know, companion, I guess.
Yeah.
I also think it's hilarious, and I can't tell if we're supposed to notice this and think it's funny, or if Wilkie Collins was genuinely like, that's a French name. Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it's
they're
her
gonna
husband's name.
Oh,
So he thinks
okay.
it's like a Central American name? Is that what they said?
That's right. That's right.
Which is still questionable, but
It's still funny, but yeah.
I don't know. But it's like so funny enough already that I'm like, maybe it is just supposed to be like a silly little name. And I like right off the bat, it's just so funny that she's like, the persons principally concerned in the event are a blind girl, 2 twin brothers, a skilled surgeon, and a curious foreign woman. I am the curious foreign woman.
Like, just the beginning of the book, I was like, this is already fun. Like,
this is not the tone I expected.
Yeah. She's like, let me tell you about this wild thing that happened to me. It's like, okay, it reminds me a little bit of Wuthering Heights in that, like, she feels sort of like the nurse where she's like, let me tell you this like whole story, but it's like so much funnier.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And I love that she's like a radical. She's like, down with the tyrants. It's like, you go, girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking the way it was written, I'm like, okay, I think we're supposed to like the readers were intended to like, oh, she's so funny, you know, it's silly. And according to the notes, that is how we're supposed to feel. Like,
oh, thank God.
We're supposed to, what?
I said, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting.
Well, yes, but also specifically that we're supposed to laugh at her being like so into like freedom and stuff.
Man.
Because that's when this is written.
Yeah, I love when she was like, alas, everything is expensive, even freedom. I was like,
it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there were a couple other parts. Oh my God, the next
one.
chapter is called Candlelight View of the Man.
After Twilight View of the Man. So I guess he's coming over for dinner, maybe?
I don't know. I like that we're getting like right into the juicy stuff. Like,
I know. And I love, because that is like so real of her as like a 22-year-old girl who lives in a village where there's like nobody and nothing and you're blind. Like, to be like, there is a man and I want to know, like, is he a cutie? Like, tell me everything.
Yeah. She's like, is he hot? He sounds hot. Like, I love
His voice is really hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Lucilla already.
Yeah.
And I love that like her and Madame are already like really getting along and they already like each other. It's just
Yes.
lovely.
It's not even a red flag. The only yellow flag waving is the first hint of her fear of dark colors. I'm like, Lucilla, let's not do this. I don't like this game. I don't want this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was very
I'm
funny that she was like going through her bag and was like, "Oh, is this a light one? No. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Sorry,
She's
I
like,
don't
but I
like it.
got those stockings. I got those stockings.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But those are stripes,
um,
right?
yes. Yes. I wonder, so like I can't tell from the back of the book. It makes it sound like we're not gonna meet the twin brother for like a while.
I think so.
So interesting.
Because I think we're gonna have like some actual relationship development going on,
Yeah.
and then he's
They're
like for
engaged. Like,
real interrupting,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
is juicy. I love it. Bring on the chaos. And I
Yes.
love that Sarah and Emma are just full on discussing concert tickets while we're like, this is our Past It Classics pre show.
Yeah, really. This is our live reactions. Yeah. Um,
But yeah, no regrets starting this.
so far this is a solid pick.
I'm happy. It's giving me like a little bit of the like country vibes of North and South, but the humor, I don't know. What have we read that's more funny? I guess kind of like Trollop. It wasn't even that funny sometimes. Um, yeah,
I remember his being really funny. Um, yeah, poor Miss Finch.
this is our Past It Classics book for April, Sarah.
It's gonna be spicy.
Join us. It has a brothers love triangle. I know
Yes,
I've got
it
you
does.
on. I've turned you on to the trope. So join us.
That's your mission as you were
Do it.
recruiting your army.
It is. Listen, it just hits different. What can I say?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I am like tangentially excited about this trip now because it is an opportunity for some good drama.
Yeah. And I think so that is this I've figured it out. I've cracked the code, right? Because I've been big on that trope because like I've always said that I love a love triangle where all three people care about each other in some capacity because that's
Mhm.
like the spice factor. So you could even do like, Margot, Laura Jean, Josh, like that sort of dynamic works great for me too. Love that.
Mhm.
Um, but yes, Emma knows too. Um, but I'm realizing also what is equally okay with me is I just love a good love triangle where it's not obvious which one she should pick.
Yes.
Like that's it. That
Yes.
is the secret. They both just have to be good options. That's
Yeah.
what makes it interesting.
I think you're gonna really like the second Laura Jean book. um, yeah, like that's. I mean, so far, what are we only like 25 pages in or something? So it's a
Yeah.
little early to be like, here's how I feel. But I feel like if the book continues on this trajectory, I'm really, really enjoying it. And the only thing that I'm a little unsure about is like how the love triangle plays out, because we know I have a history of picking the wrong person.
I don't think that'll be the case with this book. That's just a vibe I get, but I could be wrong. Who
You're
knows?
like, I trust you, Wilkie. Like,
I trust Wilkie implicitly for no reason. I've never read
yeah.
Wilkie Collins before, but if you can write this trope, I'm into it.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Oh, I'm just casually making sure P.S. I Still Love You is on my wish list since it's almost my birthday. We want to make sure that's there. It's good to
No,
check your wish list because I added a book to it recently and I was like, I literally own this book. Take it off. What if someone had bought me this
yes,
book? Like, I
yeah.
would have been so sad.
Actually, that reminds me. You wanted me to send you mine, so let me do that while we're talking about
Thank
it, or I'll
you.
forget.
Thank you.
We're just doing some wish list admin here. Don't mind us.
Oh, wait, no, I just love that this conversation's still going. I would literally pass away. Well, I mean, prepare yourself, because if you're going for the pit, it's going to happen. Do we want to see some of my unhaul?
Do it.
Oh, that's what I heard. It was the pile of books falling over. I turned at one point and I looked at my table and I was like, table, why did you rattle? Nothing fell off the table. And now I see that it's the pile of books that fell over and hit the table.
Yeah.
I cracked the code here. Wow. Okay. See what I have that's of interest. Here's a sad one for me personally. So it's tacky, but I truly always say that Meg Cabot is one of my favorite authors because she's just got so many different books and I like so many of them. So like statistically, it just has to be true. This is the second book. It's a library copy. That's why it's so shiny. To her little vampire duology. And I already unhauled the first book and forgot I owned the second book. So we got to get rid of that. This breaks my heart because they are some of the most beautiful books that I own.
That's always hard.
So I read Annihilation and liked it fine. Look at the end papers that are like illustrated and the colors so good. And I own the other two books. Again, stunning. So beautiful. They're just like gorgeous. Yeah. But these are both longer than this book. And I don't think I care. There's another Jeff Vandermeer book that I do want to read. I just don't think I got enough out of this to continue reading them. But they're so pretty. Oh, wait. Yes, you can. I will save them for you. I didn't share, but why can't I? Okay. Yes, perfect. It's an interesting book. I will save these for you, Emma. That works out great. I know you are, okay? I'm sorry. Sarah is annotating Room with a View for me. I was like, you know the name. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, great. So that solves that problem. What else? I'm getting like so many of these books are just like random books that are from book boxes where like I didn't know about them before I owned them. I figured I'd give them a shot, but it's like, if I've had you for this long, do I care? Do I care? I don't think I care. I've got this arc of The Babysitter's Coven that I'm getting rid of. Because again, I'm just like, you've been here. I don't think I care. A lot of like random historical fiction, some YA. Oh, here's one that I was excited about when I bought it. The funny thing is, I don't know, is everyone else like this? I imagine other readers must be. Like, I think I could tell you where I bought every single one of these books. Like, I have very visceral memories. Like, I know I bought this at Literati in Ann Arbor. And it's like Crucible retelling, which had me so excited. But then I was like, but the thing that I like about the Crucible is the Salem witch trials. I don't
historical
like the
part,
drama. So why do I care about high schoolers who are like passing out or whatever? Like, I don't. Turns out I don't. So, yep. There's a few. A wee sampling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. I am so looking forward to like unhauling the ones for the like hyped fantasy slug. Because I know you already saw how that went. So
Do you wanna send me the Infernal Devices books? Would
I
you mind?
will.
Okay,
I
great.
will.
I
No, okay.
don't want the other.
Yeah. Question. Maybe we should ask Olivia, Savannah, and Hannah. But like, I think they're counting when they like give unhauls to each other. That still counts as them like buying a book. So, but would that count for us? Because like, it's kind of a gift. Kind of not. I don't
I
know.
mean,
How
in
do you
my
want to do it?
mind, to me, it wasn't counting as a gift for me, but it is counting for you getting rid of them. You know what I mean? So it's
No. What do you mean?
neutral to me, but affecting you positively. But we could do it
Okay.
either way.
Well, I mean, because I already like get points for them because they are TBR books that I read. You know.
Correct.
So
Oh,
yeah.
you're right. So it is just the same at this point.
I don't know, because I remember from the check-in they just did that they're counting, because I think they both were like unhauling some books and then the other person took a couple.
I mean,
Anyway,
I don't
I
mind.
was thinking,
I'm literally getting rid of so many books right now that adding two is not going to hurt me. So
okay,
I
okay,
don't care if I
how
have to.
many? I'm curious.
I didn't count. $28.
Nice.
And that I still didn't go through. I don't think there's any classics up there that I'm unhauling, but that's the only shelf that I didn't actually go through. And then my piles on the floor over here are all
Yeah,
newer to
yeah.
me hauled books. So I know there's nothing in there that I'm like uninterested in yet.
If we want to talk about book piles, like,
Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot. I've got a little fantasy section over there too. Okay, so I've got like two more shelves to look at.
yeah. I feel like I have been, because I'm trying not to buy as many books, obviously.
Mhm.
I feel like I have been like buying way more yarn than I need to.
You
Like
got to make
really,
up for it
yeah,
somehow.
like really pretty though. Like I mean, like nice fancy yarn that I don't often get usually. But
Mm,
I'm like starting to try some of the like indie dyers, and like they're so pretty. Let me like find a couple.
yes. While you do, I'm going to catch up on these comments. Oh, yeah, Emma, you told me you have a whole tub of books. It's a free book. Emma, I don't know if there's any of these other ones that you're interested in, but you can steal as many as you want. And RIP. Sorry. That is such wow. That's so like a man to ghost you and recommend a sci-fi book to you. Okay. Yeah. Don't let him ruin anything. It was a very interesting read. Oh, that's so pretty.
Right? Isn't that
Oh my
beautiful?
gosh.
Yeah.
It's like sherbety a little bit. Like it's
Yes, it's gorgeous. And I especially like, because I still use a lot of like regular priced yarn that you can get from like Michael's or somewhere, whatever.
mhm.
We do not support yarn snobbery in this house. Um, but it is cool with indie dyers. You can get those like really interesting color combinations that you just can't get because like they're not like hand dyed in small batches, you know, for other
Mhm.
things. So like I love the like variegated and like the speckly colors and all of that, and those are things that you pretty much only get from like independent dyers. But yeah,
Well,
anyway, so I'm
um,
like in my fancy yarn era, I guess, like sort of.
I love that for you though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very
Did I
sweet.
tell you? Maybe we talked about this already, but like the one there was like that they were having like a promotion, like a few different dyers all got together. They did like something for Pie Day, and like all of their yarn was like inspired by a different pie. It was like very cute. And so there were a few, yeah, there were a few that I ordered from, and there was one that I was like, well, I'll like look around the shop and like I'll see there's anything else I want to order at the same time. And I'm like scrolling, and there's like an art and artist collection or something where it's like inspired by color palettes from paintings. And I was like, that's so cool. And so I click on it and I look and I'm like, is this an Artemisia Gentileschi painting I see?
No way!
It was, and it was Yale and Cicera, which is like not one of her super well-known ones, but I recognized it immediately. So like obviously I got that one. But and it's one of those things I'm like, I recognize like the colors were very pretty, but like I also recognize that one of the primary reasons is like it's Artemisia. I have to. And I'm like, I'm not even mad. That is good marketing. Like I respect it.
Yes.
So it was
It's
great.
so true.
Very exciting moment for me.
The same way I feel anytime it's like, you know, a candle or whatever. And it might just be a nice smelling candle, but then it's called like most ardently. And I'm like, oh, what a candle. I love it.
I know. I mean, part of what you're paying for is theming, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like,
I dropped in the midst of rehearsal, me waiting for my turn being on Instagram, I dropped some mad cash on a whim on a necklace and 2 candles that were all Daisy Jones and the Six themed. I was like, I shouldn't have done that, but I'm glad I did.
I know.
And when they arrive, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, like these Instagram ads are getting me in trouble. I feel like their algorithm is smarter than like any other app or like website that I've ever used. Like, because they'll recommend me things. I'm like, I do like this. Like, oh no.
Instagram recommends things to me that I need before I even realized I needed them. I'm like, wow, yeah, actually, that would solve a big problem in my life. Thank you, Instagram.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a little disturbing, but I appreciate it. Like, yeah. I feel like this is our like retail therapy confessional right now.
Yeah.
Because like I also just like over the last couple of days, so I didn't realize because again I didn't even realize that there was like an Instagram like knitting and yarn community, although I should have, but like I just haven't been on Instagram that long. And so I'm like finding all these like, you know, gorgeous products from like independent dyers and all that. I'm like, I'm in danger, but it's great here. I love it. And I didn't realize that a lot of dyers will do their they'll open the pre-orders for their advent calendars super early in the year, like April or May, and a lot of them do like installment payment plans because like they can be it's so nice, and it's like, you know, they can be very expensive because you're buying like a whole calendar, even though it's small amounts of like hand dyed yarn. And I loved having an advent calendar last year, so I knew I wanted to try at least a couple. Anyway, this is all the very long intro to be like, I spent more money than I perhaps should have, because like there's just been a couple where I'm like, not only do I love the like color inspiration, but like the theme is so perfect for me. Like, and a lot of them come with like little extras. Like one of them at least comes with like a project bag, which I always need more of because I knit like 17 things at once. But yeah, I love it. Anyway, this whole long story is because I wanted to share that one of the ones I got yesterday is Jane Austen themed. And I'm like, I can't wait. So like each week of the Advent is like based on a different like novel, and like the color palette is like one of the seasons. So like Persuasion is winter, and it's got like lots of blues and like cool tones, and then like Emma is summer and it's all like bright. And anyway, I am so stoked.
Sorry, this is so unrelated, but I'm freaking out right now. Is this true? Is
really?
this a late April Fool's prank? What is happening?
I didn't hear that either.
Panic. After 6 years of dating. Oh my God. Wait, I'm so sad. It's going to make for a great album, but I'm sad.
That is really sad.
Oh no. It's real, you guys. Oh. You know that like Sims meme of like there's literally like a baby on fire and the mom's like on the computer. It says, "Not now, sweetie. Mommy's read that Taylor and Joe broke up."
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. That is a bummer.
According to their reliable source, the breakup was amicable and not dramatic. Well, it's not. It's dramatic to me.
Right. Ugh,
I just wanted her to have the one.
I know. Nice thing.
Wow, that's depressing.
It
Hopefully
is.
she'll talk about it at the concert when I'm there. Yeah. Ugh. I'm sad now. Thanks for bringing down the mood, Emma. Jeez. We were so happy talking about Jane Austen yarn. now everything's bleak. Do we want to read again on the hour?
Let's do it.
It's been a hot minute here. This was a nice, long, chatty one.
Yes. I might need to run and grab some laundry. So it'll be a laundry break for me. But
that is respectable. How long do we want to go? Do you want longer? Or were we... I don't know.
How long do you want to do sprints for?
I mean, I'm good for a while. I'm just at home tomorrow, so...
I will need to eat dinner at some point.
I might have a second dinner at some point.
I support second dinner.
Because I had late breakfast and then dinner, as we call it, with my parents around 3:30. So I'm like, I'll be ready to eat again at some point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
That didn't answer the question though.
No.
We both just got quiet. We're like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we did 40 minutes and that was fine. Do you want to do a nice round 45?
Let's do that.
Okay,
yes.
We'll do a different time for every sprint. Oh, hey, maybe put more than just a number.
And we've kind of been doing a different book for every sprint.
Yeah, a different book and a different time. Just to
what are we reading? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Not even us until it happens.
I know, truly. Maybe I'll do sprint roulette, and every time I finish a chapter, I'll just move to the next book.
I love that, actually.
Because I haven't picked up this one yet, friends. I want to. But
yes.
A good time in both of these. I don't know why I'm so invested in Nina and Matthias specifically, but they're making me sad. They're making me real sad.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like they have a really interesting dynamic. Like it's very depressing sometimes, but it's like extremely compelling, and I get it. They were like one of the ones that I was definitely more interested in.
So, do want that to turn around. Sarah, will that happen within 6 of Crows, or do I have to wait for the next book? I guess anyone here could answer that for me. Kara, does that turn around within 6 of Crows?
I don't know how much you want me to tell you.
Just will I be sad the whole time? Oh no, I don't like the
No, not the whole time. They like have some. They have some like more positive moments, but
I'll take it.
I don't think you should hold out for the second book to pay off for that.
Okay, I think I know some things. It's it's a very Infernal Devices experience for me, where I'm like, I know not details, I just know the vibe. And I have to prepare myself for that.
Yeah.
Sarah also said, oh, so the whole relationship is sad. Got it. Cool. We're just suffering.
Yeah. Sarah and I both go like,
Cool. Well, I can get down with some angst. Yeah. I don't know what you mean.
Like, I haven't even read it, and I know things, like,
I'm sure it's a delight. I'm sure it's
yeah,
a fun, joyful time for all.
yeah.
Cricket Kingdom. Okay, it is 9 o'clock. Let's read for, well, it's 9 o'clock for me. Let's read for 45 minutes. And oh, I didn't realize I could just entirely get rid of the comments on the side. Okay, bye. Welcome back. Welcome back. Here we are. I almost did a haunted mansion. Hurry back. And I was like, that's a little weird. Woo. How was that for you?
It was good. As I predicted, mostly laundry,
Mm-hmm.
but I did get back and I read a chapter plus of Empress of Salt and Fortune because I saw that you had read this recently and I
Yeah.
had been planning to read it for Tor.comathon, just didn't get to it. And I was like, oh yeah, I checked out the audio. I forgot that. So I just like read along and listened to stuff. It was a good time. Nice and
Yeah.
short. Um yeah. This is the first thing I think I've read by Nevo. So
Ooh, well, let me tell you, I'm a big Nevo fan.
yeah.
This is now only my oh, that's not true. I read that short story. Okay, so this is my third thing that I've read from her now, but I and this is what I'm saying about things like Shadow and Bone, where I feel like I'm the weirdo sometimes. Like The Chosen and the Beautiful, full 5 stars. One of my favorite books that I read last year. Whereas when it came out, remember it got like all this buzz, and then everyone was like, "Oh, it wasn't really what I expected."
Yeah.
It was immaculate. I loved it.
The
So
one I'm really excited for from her is Siren Queen. Is that what it's
yes,
called? Like,
which I
because
own.
old Hollywood, like race, class, feminism, Fae mythology, like so
Mhm.
smart. I think that's gonna be my favorite from Nevo. But
Yeah, she can turn a phrase, like beautiful writing. An Empress of Salt and Fortune, I'm very intrigued about it being like a series of novellas,
yeah,
which I guess does exist now that I'm thinking of like Wayward Children and stuff. But I liked that one on its own, and I feel like it concluded in a way where I'm like, great, good story. I'm pleased.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
curious to
wonder,
see
are they
what
like
the rest are.
companion? Are they companion books, or is it maybe like
That's what I'm wondering.
episodic type things?
I
Like
don't
that's
know.
kind of the impression I got.
Yeah, my guess is maybe. Why can't I think of their name? Um,
I'm like reading the back of this. I'm like, oh,
who's
this sounds even better than I remember.
yeah?
Like, because
What's
I'm
the
only. Sorry, go ahead.
what's the main character's name? Not Rabbit.
Chi.
Yes, Chi. I'm wondering if it's like following Chi around to different places,
Right. That's
or if
yeah,
it's
that's kind
just
of the
all
impression
set in
I
the
got.
same world. But
Yeah.
I was pleased with
Yeah.
that.
It's mostly
I
just like world building so far, but good.
Yes, yeah. It's like it's a slow start because you got to get into it, but I think it just builds
Yeah.
in a very satisfying way. I ended up making myself a picker wheel with all my books.
Ooh.
And so I spun that and let that decide every time I finish a chapter. I'm like, okay, what am I reading next?
I love
So
that.
that was fun. So I did read one chapter of Some Dukes Have All the Luck. Still delightful. It was great. Her parents showed up out of the blue at their house, and they've been married for 2 days, mind you. 2 days, and her parents showed up, and she's like, I hate it here. Not here, but like because her parents showed up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so her husband told them off, and it was great. And he was like, we need privacy, and it's too early for guests. And then they were talking about, like, oh, we see you still haven't uh, broken her of her habits, but don't worry. If you persist, she'll stop with all this insect nonsense. And he's like, you listen here. She told me you destroyed all her stuff. And like, why did you think that was okay? And he like put the fear of God in them. And then they were like, we didn't destroy it. We just put it in the attic. We knew it was valuable. So we thought maybe we could sell it. And he's like, and you're going to bring it all here and you're going to like it. And so he like set up the library for her as like a special place to work on her research. And then they walked in and it was a very Beauty and the Beast moment where she's just like,
Hmm.
for me. And so Love
I
it.
can't at all relate to the entomology interest, but I'm glad she's happy.
I'm
That's
very
nice.
happy. And then I took an eating break, and then I read 2 more chapters of Poor Miss Finch, which still driving with.
Nice.
And you'll never guess what chapter 7 is called.
What is it?
Daylight View of the Man. I hope we get to see him in every light.
Right, right. That's so funny. It's also like reminding me of like those very blandly titled like paintings or sculptures where it's like portrait of a man in a drizzly English morning, you know? It's like it's giving me that vibe. So yeah, it's like we're gonna see him in all the different light combinations. It's
Yeah.
like view of the man in boots, like view of the man with a jacket, like
Mm-hmm. Just viewing him in every way, really.
yeah.
Good for him. And they did already mention his twin brother. There was a name drop, not a name drop, but a twin drop. So juicy,
Yeah.
juicy stuff.
This is gonna
Oh,
be a fun one.
just realized I can get rid of this. Get out of here.
View
We don't
of
need
the man in complete darkness. Yeah.
that. Saucy. The man in complete darkness. That is honestly the vibe, though. Oh man, April's like a busy month, but I feel like it's gonna be a good reading month for me. Like I have good vibes right now.
Yeah. Well, all the world's a page, you know, off
I
to a good start.
know, that's what it is. It's all the world's a page. Oh, see, that's the tea right there.
I remember when we read Sense and Sensibility for one of my college classes, like a professor talked a lot about how like often characters are mistaken for each other. And like
Hmm.
I hadn't thought of it, but like I don't know, I still think about that. Like years later, I'm like, that's true. It's like specifically Edward and Willoughby and Brandon and basically like all of the all that group of like characters. It's like, yeah, all of the women are always like, oh, I think it's the one I want to see. And then it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not.
It is kind of funny. I don't know, just like as a literary device in general. Because, like, how often ever in your life has someone been like, oh, I thought you were so and so? And you're like, nope, just me. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe once.
right, right.
But
I mean I believe Jane Austen would. Yeah.
yeah. But Colonel Brandon's older. He's a distinguished
Yeah.
gentleman.
Well, and I think that's why it's significant is like these characters really don't resemble each other. It's
Yeah.
like a very
Really good.
psychological thing. Um Interesting. I don't know. That's just what it reminded me of as we were discussing the many views of the man.
Oh, I need to reread Sense and Sensibility. It's been a long time for me. Actually, I need to take it back. I need to read Northanger Abbey so I can have read every Jane Austen book, and then I'm allowed to keep rereading.
Yeah. Northanger Abbey's a fun one. Like
I know
it's
it will be. I've watched
especially
it.
okay. And especially cuz like you know and appreciate the like gothic tropes, I feel like you're going to have fun with it. It's just
Yeah.
a good time. Also, Mr. Tilney is so much fun and he's one of those characters where I'm like I would hate you in real life. Like you would drive me bonkers, but he's so funny and clever. I'm like, okay. Like,
Yeah, I forgive you.
would you be an ass in real life? Yes, but like as a love interest in a fictional story, you're fun to have around. Like
I'll allow it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have high hopes for it. I think it'll rank well. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the outlier book of hers.
Yes. Yeah, because it's a satire and it's just very different feeling. It's funny because like a lot of I feel like reviews. Yes, okay. This the three of us really are the Henry Crawford Defense Squad. So this is our meeting.
Yeah.
We shall come to order. I am so excited for any early reviews to come out for Manslaughter Park because I didn't care about Pride and Premeditation. I was pretty underwhelmed by it. I have no interest in the second book, but the third one, I'm intrigued and I want to see reviews and see how it is before I commit.
All I'm gonna say is that I don't even care what happens in it. That's maybe the most iconic title I've heard in my whole life. Manslaughter Park.
Right? Right? I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
ready
like,
to
and I loved The Murder of Mr. Wickham
Mm-hmm.
that I read last year. And I totally see why a lot of people wouldn't be into it. This is what we were talking about earlier. It's like if you're like a mystery and thriller fan, you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
like this is so underwhelming. But it's like more about having fun watching Jane Austen characters run around and solve a murder. Like I loved it. um yeah, Manslaughter Park.
It's real.
And so
I
there's
found
Murder
it.
of Mr. Wickham and then the second one is something about is it something it's like something about like Mrs. Willoughby or something. And it's just I'm so glad there's a second one. It's going to be fun.
Listen, I will personally be the Manslaughter Park guinea pig that you need. I
Please.
will read it in a heartbeat. I
Please do
have
it.
on my TBR Pride and Premeditation. Haven't read it. If I like it, I'm sure I'll continue. But I'll start with book 3. I don't care. I don't
I don't
follow the rules.
I think they're like completely different characters, so I feel like you
Perfect.
probably could.
Lovely.
But yes, please please prioritize that one so I know how it is. Um yeah. Also gorgeous covers for this
I
series. I
know. I was
love
just looking at
them.
all 3 together. I'm like, ugh,
I
stunning.
unhauled the first one and I'm like, it's so beautiful, but like I'm never gonna reread this. So I had to be realistic, but
Yeah,
alack.
sometimes that's the way it goes. I know. I do feel, well, see, because I'm like purging my TBR bookcase. And sometimes I look at my red bookcases and I'm like, what in here in my heart of hearts did I think I would reread? And maybe I will never reread. But then it starts to like create this rereading bug in me, right? And I'm like, oh, that one, oh, I hardly remember it. It would be so nice to reread that. Oh, if I reread this one, I could annotate it. Oh, I only listened to the audiobook of that one. I could read it physically this time. And it's like
Yeah,
chaos.
yeah. I am so much better at unhauling books that I have read. Like even if it's like a 4 or 5 stars, it's like if I know that I'm not going to want to reread it or just like it won't be at all in the near future, I am totally fine letting it go even if I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much harder for me to get rid of a book I haven't read cuz I'm like what if? Like cuz there have been this is what makes it extra hard is like there have been multiple times where I got so close to unhauling a book and then I ended up reading it later and I loved it. And that's what gets me is I'm like, what if it's like a secret favorite? That happens sometimes. So
It does happen sometimes. I know. I moved. Okay, so Sarah, close your eyes and ears. Don't listen to me. So I had started, and also Emma, if you're still here, don't listen to this because you're the one who gifted it to me. So I started reading People We Meet on Vacation last summer and just kind of fell out of it. Like I just wasn't super hooked. So it sat on my nightstand for a while because my nightstand is my home for books that I've started, but I'm not actively reading.
yeah.
So it's got a nice little pile going on. Um, and then after sitting there with it for so long, I was like, maybe I'm not interested in picking this back up. And I moved it to my pile of books to take to the library and unhaul. And then today, this was like weeks ago, and then today I walked past it and I was like, no, we'll try again. And I just like moved it back to my TBR bookcase, like without the
Yeah, yeah.
bookmark in it. I'm like, welcome back, kid. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. Especially like when there's a long time in between when I like unhaul books and then when I actually like bring them wherever I'm taking them. Like that happened to me with the Knife of Never Letting Go series by Patrick Ness is I had just kind of like lost interest. I don't know. There are things I had heard about it where I'm like, I am a little less certain I'm going to enjoy this one, but I'm glad I did rescue it because it's one of the books that we're going to be doing for Not a Genre Book Club coming up.
Ooh.
So, works out well for me. But
Did
yeah.
Mari pick this also? Or was it
No,
someone
although
else?
I thought about that. I thought that would be funny. It's actually Olivia Savannah. That's
Oh
her
my
pick.
gosh.
So, yeah, I'm
I
like, well,
love
I'm
that.
glad I rescued that trilogy from the depths of my unhaul pile, but
Did I pick something? Because if so, I
I don't think
cannot.
you ever got back to me.
Okay, because I'm like, I can't recall ever like cementing a choice. Good to know.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I might need to hop off and eat some dinner,
That's fair. This has
but
been
I loved
delightful.
this.
I just always love doing sprints and hanging out with friends. It's so nice. And I do
Yes.
feel like I accomplished quite a bit of reading. Hold on.
Yeah. And we both started our Past It Classics book. So,
I know. That's amazing. I'm going to pull up Bookly real quick and I have to discount the audiobook I listened to. It says I read 193 pages today. So that is pretty darn good.
that
That's
is great.
way more than I read on an average day.
Very exciting.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you again. Yeah, I don't know why I wowed like I was a cat owned by Owen Wilson.
That is exactly the combination of vibes, and I love that.
Do you think he was a cat?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you again for joining. Thank you to people who tuned in for reading fun times and lots of gushing about Jenny Han.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was glad to have that chat with you because it's just been on my mind and on my heart lately.
It's a good one.
And
Yeah.
that one line makes me laugh every single time. Did I already tell you this one? I feel like I've said it to everyone because
The one with like I guess he does like homely girls. Yeah.
I didn't say you were homely. I said you liked being at home.
Yeah.
Like this is genuine laughter. I've probably reread, thought about, or retold that line like 10 times in the past couple days, and I laugh every single time because it is that funny to me. So thank you, Jenny Han, because that was a gift.
I
Okay.
love that.
I'll see you at our next sprint. When is that?
Yes, we have we did post a tentative schedule. Like we haven't settled on like start times, but like for example, I will be hosting some a week from today, so next Saturday. Probably starting early afternoon Pacific time. So maybe around 1, but we'll see. And then our watch along is the next day after that, so the 16th. And
I still
Olivia
gotta figure
Savannah
out.
is hosting some on the last day of the readathon. And we might have a couple like pop-up sprints in between that, but yeah, it's gonna be a good
Yay.
time.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.